I'm Tim Herrera with the Sacramento County Office of Education with another Teacher of the Year profile. We have with us now Barbara Modlin, who is the Teacher of the Year for the Sacramento County Office of Education. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us first where you teach and tell us what you teach.
I teach at Eleanor Hickey Junior Senior Community High School, and I teach English, language arts, and social science.
Now, how long have you been involved in teaching in the community schools?
I've been at the community school now for almost 5 years.
Okay. And kind of explain what community school means.
Community schools are special programs run through Sac County Office of Ed for kids who've been incarcerated and or expelled from their school districts. So we take the students who are highly at risk, who have pretty specific needs, and we try to get them back on track.
And so with each student, do you have to kind of individualize their educations?
We do a great deal of that. We use several testing programs to accurately gauge the student's grade level in math and English, and from that point we just aggregate that data to drive our lessons and conference with the students. We do a lot of one-on-one in addition to direct instruction. I teach doing group activities, and after I present my lesson, I'm always circulating around to make sure that the kids are understanding what they're doing and that they're making progress.
And talk about the type of student that you work with on a regular basis. I would imagine their level of success is different from students going to a comprehensive high school.
There's a great deal of difference. The levels of success have to be measured in a completely different way. It's challenging being in any classroom and engaging your students and having them be successful, but our students take it to a whole nother level because they come to our school and we really are the only support and structure that they have, and they don't really have any clue sometimes as to how many credits they have, what they need to graduate, what their options are after high school. So we have to really build the student up, and we have to teach them a lot of socialization even before we can start the education process. And then once we can do all that, once we engage them and they buy into it, it's pretty much downhill from there, but that's a whole process up until that point.
Now, when a student goes into a conventional high school, there's that level of socialization that has to be learned. But are you saying that in a community school it's compounded because of other outside forces?
Definitely. Our students are used to coming from punitive institutions, Juvenile Hall, Carson Creek Boys Ranch. They're used to being challenged by authority and not fitting into that social hierarchy. So when they come to us, they're used to behaving the way they've always behaved because that's just who they've developed themselves into. We have to break down those walls, and we have to really get at the core of why they're doing that behavior, and we have to build a level of trust with them, and then, and only then, can we start to really make progress academically. We have to teach them how to show respect. We have to, we do a lot of mentoring and parenting and social work to get them to that level.
So now, how long have you taught in community schools?
Almost 5 years.
And your education career has been how long?
About 16.
Okay, so what's been the difference, you think, for you going from a conventional education environment into a community school?
I love both types of teaching. I find that it's highly rewarding to work with at-risk kids because you feel like you're really making a difference. And when they do improve, and when they go on to college, when they go on to the military, when they go on to careers, you feel like you've really saved a life. You've not just graduated a student. You feel like you've saved someone from incarceration or gang involvement or from a life of drug dependency. You've maybe broken a cycle. And to me, there's no other greater joy than going home and knowing that.
Different kind of success story.
Very much different kind.
So are the students that you get difficult to motivate? And if so, what are some ways that you motivate them compared to in a comprehensive classroom?
They can be difficult to motivate, but I find that once they trust you and they have developed that respect for you, they will work harder than most kids because they're not used to having that kind of support. They're very reticent to trust people and to buy into things because they've been let down and disappointed and underserved by prior schools, by their families. So I find that once you can build that level of trust with them, they make progress quite a bit faster because they see the results, and it kind of gets the momentum going. I had a student a couple of years ago that came to me with almost no credits, low self-esteem, and once he started amassing his credits and improving his scores in reading and in math, you couldn't stop him. And he, goes to college now, and he's been a huge example for the other kids that, I came in here with almost nothing, and I'm leaving with all my tests passed, with my credits in place. I'm going on to college, and he comes back and mentors the other kids. So it's it's proof that we can do it.
So out of all the things that you really need to instill in your students, would the first one be trust?
I think trust would be huge. That would definitely be the first thing. And you have to, you can't, trust is something that has to be earned. So, you can sometimes have to tolerate a lot of their dysfunction before you get to that level of trust and respect. And the lesson learned is that, I will give you that respect before you give it to me, and that I won't walk away from you when the chips are down. It's really easy, I tell the kids, to love someone, to care about them when they're doing well. It's to continue that level of care and interest in them when they're not doing well, when they're being challenging. So when the students are at their worst is when they really need us the most. When they're acting out, when they're not coming to school, that's when we really have to dig in and not turn our backs on them, because that's the critical point when they can go either way.
Because they maybe come from an environment where a lot of people have turned their backs on them.
I think so, and also I think it's a scary place to have success when you haven't had success, because with success comes personal accountability, responsibility. It's, in some ways, they come to our program and it's different from any place they've ever been, and they're only with us between 4 and 8 hours a day, and then they go home, and the rest of the time a lot of what we do can be undone. And I think it's scary to be the only person in your apartment complex, in your apartment, who is staying sober, who is going to school, who's bettering themselves. And I think that can be intimidating, that level of success.
So what inspired you to teach the student population?
I guess I've always been drawn to kids who need more than just their academic subjects. I think I'm a strong teacher in a traditional classroom, but I've always connected with the kids over and above just teaching what my content is. And I've always been the teacher that kids ask to start clubs with and to sponsor them. And I've always been the teacher whose room they ate lunch in. And when I got to Eleanor Hickey, I saw a group of kids who had really been underserved by the systems they had been in. And I saw very quickly that it was not a huge effort on my part, just being who I am, to get them to move in the direction I wanted them to move in. That just by being myself and by caring for them like I care for all the students, it was astronomical, the improvement they made. So I see my niche as, the greatest need as being in the community school, and I want to be where I'm needed the most. And I think in our current economic and educational climate, we need to really focus on the kids who are underserved, because they're the ones without the right structure and without the right academic programs in place. They're the ones that will eventually go on to commit violent crimes, commit crimes, become, a part of a larger system that can be stopped if we start now.
So what would you say to those teachers who are considering teaching this type of student population?
I would say that you have to have the right personality for it, because I'd say 75–85% of my job is my ability to connect with the kids and to get them to buy into what I believe they can do. So it's not for somebody who wants to just teach their content area. I do content area teaching, but a great portion of my job happens before school, after school, at night, on the weekends. I get calls from kids. It's really quite a lifestyle versus just a teaching job. So I'd say you have to really have the right personality and the right level of patience and commitment.
Okay, well, congratulations on receiving the honor. We've been speaking with Barbara Modlin, who is the Teacher of the Year for the Sacramento County Office of Education. Congratulations.
Thank you.